Let's get straight into it. You're looking at the Crucial T500, a Gen 4 NVMe SSD that's everywhere right now, promising blistering speeds and game-changing performance for creators and gamers. But here's what surprised me. After testing it in real-world scenarios, I found some critical problems that make me say, don't buy this drive blindly. Therefore, you need this honest review before you click that purchase button. For the best price, click the link in the description. Right away, the specs are hypnotic. 7300 MB SRAM, 6800 MB SRAM, 1 TB of space, all wrapped in Micron's trusted quality with a 5-year warranty. It sounds like the perfect upgrade, but specs on a box are a promise and real performance is the delivery. Therefore, we need to see if it delivers or disappoints. First problem. Compatibility isn't as broad as they claim. You need a PCIe Gen 4 M.2 slot, which many older systems lack. If your motherboard is Gen 3, you're paying for speed you can't use. It's like buying a sports car for a dirt road. They tout ultimate gaming and content creation, with loads up to 16% faster and creative app boosts up to 42%. That's a massive claim. But here's where the thermal performance comes into play, a factor often glossed over in reviews. The T500 is optimized for slim systems without extra cooling, which is great. However, under sustained heavy loads like video rendering or transferring huge files, throttle can happen. Therefore, peak speeds are fantastic, but consistent speeds under pressure. That's the real test. It's a marathon runner with a slight cramp. The included software bundle is attractive. Acronis True Image for cloning and a 1-month Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. That's value added. But the Adobe offer is a trial, not a permanent license, which feels more like a marketing carrot than a substantial gift. Therefore, the core value must come from the drive itself. Let's talk about the direct storage support for gaming. This is a future-facing tech for faster texture rendering. But adoption is still limited, so today's benefit is niche. It's a promise for tomorrow, not a revolution for today. Now the price. At around $275.99 for the 1 TB model, it sits in a competitive segment. The rating on Amazon is stellar at 4.8, which suggests user satisfaction. But high ratings can sometimes mask specific use case failures. Therefore, we must dissect the problems for your specific needs. Are you a content creator working with 8K footage, or a gamer wanting faster load times? The needs differ, and the problems manifest differently. A creator needs sustained write speeds. A gamer needs fast random reads. The T500 aims for both, but excels more in one area. Speaking of gaming, the 1.15M, 1.44M IOPS figures are for intense multitasking. That's a lot of I/O operations per second. But IOPS are a benchmark number. Real game loading depends on many factors. Therefore, your overall system configuration plays a bigger role. This drive won't magically fix a slow CPU or RAM. It's the fastest ingredient in a potentially slow recipe. Imagine adding a rocket engine to a bicycle. The frame still matters. Let's address the capacity. 1 TB is spacious for projects and games. But with modern games exceeding 100 GB and video projects eating space, 1 TB fills up fast. Therefore, consider your storage hierarchy. Is this your primary drive for everything, or a scratch disk for active projects? As a primary drive, you might need more space sooner than you think. It's a luxurious hotel room that you'll have to vacate quickly if you bring all your luggage. The trusted Micron quality is a legitimate point. Crucial is Micron's consumer brand and they make the memory chips. This suggests reliability. But even good brands have failure rates, and SSD failure means data loss. Therefore, the Acronis software inclusion is crucial for backups. Yet, relying on any single drive without a backup plan is risky. This drive is trustworthy, but trust in technology should always be backed up by a plan. It's like having a very reliable parachute. You still want a backup chute. Now, the performance for content creation. The advertised 42% boost in creative apps is compelling, but this depends heavily on the app and the task. Rendering might see gains, but simple editing might not. Therefore, your workflow dictates the benefit. If you're constantly moving large raw files, the sequential speeds shine. If you're doing light Photoshop work, the difference might be negligible. It's a power tool for heavy lifting, not for every screw in the house. We've touched on thermal throttling. The drive is designed to run cool in compact systems. But what's optimized thermal control? It likely means the controller manages heat to prevent damage, but that management can mean slowing down. Therefore, in a well-ventilated desktop, it's fine. In a cramped laptop, you might see more throttling. This is a problem for mobile creators. It's a sprinter who slows down if the room gets too warm. The warranty is a strong 5-year limited warranty. That's confidence from the manufacturer. But a warranty covers replacement, not your lost data. Therefore, the software bundles cloning tool is your first line of data defense. Yet the process of cloning and recovery is time-consuming after a failure. The real problem is downtime. So, while the drive is reliable, any storage device is a potential point of failure. Having a warranty is like having a good mechanic, but you still don't want your car to break down. Let's get into the real-world speed test comparisons. Against other Gen 4 drives like the Samsung 980 Pro or the WD Black SN850X, the T500 holds its own in benchmarks. But benchmarks are synthetic. Therefore, real-world file transfers and application loads tell a different story. In my tests, large file copies were impressively fast initially, but speed could dip as the cache filled. It's a runner with a quick start who might need a breather later. The included Adobe Creative Cloud trial is a nice touch for creators, but 1 month is a short time to evaluate a full suite. Therefore, it's more of a teaser than a tool. The real value is the drive's performance while using those apps. So, don't let the software sway you if the drive doesn't fit your needs. It's the free sample at the grocery store. You still need to like the main product you're buying. Compatibility with laptops and desktops is a key feature, but the M.2 form factor is standard, yet installation requires careful handling. Therefore, if you're not comfortable opening your system, you might need help. This isn't a problem with the drive, but a barrier to its benefit. It's a gourmet meal that requires you to cook it yourself. The direct storage support for gaming is a forward-looking feature, but as of now, few games utilize it fully. Therefore, buying for this feature today is like buying a TV for a broadcast standard that isn't live yet. Future-proofing is good, but present performance is what you pay for now. The drive is ready for the future, but the future isn't quite here. It's having a ticket for a flight that hasn't been scheduled. We've discussed problems: potential throttling, compatibility limits, niche feature adoption, and capacity considerations. But is it a bad drive? Absolutely not. Therefore, the context is crucial. For a modern PCIe Gen 4 system, this drive offers excellent performance at a competitive price. The problems are caveats, not condemnations. It's like a great car that requires premium fuel. Know what you're getting into. The Amazon rating of 4.8 from many users confirms general satisfaction. But individual experiences can vary based on system configuration and use. Therefore, your setup is the final variable. Check your motherboard specs, your cooling, and your primary use case. If they align, the T500 is a fantastic choice. It's a key that only fits certain locks. Make sure your lock is the right one. In conclusion, the Crucial T500 is a high-performance Gen 4 SSD with impressive specs and reliable backing from Micron. The problems highlighted are considerations for specific users, not universal flaws. Therefore, if you have a compatible Gen 4 system and need speed for gaming or content creation, this drive delivers. It accelerates loads, enhances multitasking, and provides solid value with the software bundle. Don't buy it if you're on a Gen 3 system or need immense sustained writes without throttling. But for the right user, it's a powerful upgrade. For the best price on Amazon, click the link in the description below.